So she said here, keep on preaching. That is wonderful.
Oh.
That's words of encouragement.
Yeah.
That from wanting to be part of a gang, now I wanted to be a preacher.
Wow.
That's what the local church helped me to see hope, to have hope.
Life is like a roller coaster, but it's so much better when we go through it together. It's true, we are better together. And this season, I'm asking our podcast community to do something together to make a difference in the world. There are hard things going on around us. Hurricanes, floods, fires, people hurting. And as followers of Jesus, we show up in the hard stuff and we build relationships with people who need us. We give. Each week, I'm bringing you a short piece of an interview with a special guest, and each week, you'll hear more about what we can do together. These are short episodes, less than 10 minutes, so come join us. Jonathan, hi. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Candace. Really excited to be here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to have you. Where should we start? I know you're married. You have two young boys. What was your childhood like growing up?
That's a great question. I will reflect while we talk in some of the aspects of poverty that we don't normally see. People see poverty as the lack of things, like lack of clothes, food, material things, which is most of what the issue of poverty is. But there is an aspect of poverty related to the spiritual need all humans have. And for me, that starts with my grandparents. And in the context of our family, my mother was abused by an uncle, which sexual abuse, sadly, was very common in my family. And everything, again, was related to that aspect of spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
And so not many people see that, but that's how my story began, because my mother ran away from family and ended up homeless. So that's why I say there's this connection of spiritual warfare in poverty that we sometimes don't realize.
Yeah, I don't think we as Americans really make that connection often. It's what you said. We see poverty as the lack of.
Exactly.
But often don't think about that. So thank you for starting there and reminding of us of the spiritual battles that are going on.
Exactly. And I don't think neither in our context people is aware that is part of the issue of poverty in the world. Because for my mother, she ran away from family, ended up homeless. But again, there was a culture of abuse and a spiritual abuse as well in our family. So she ended up homeless, working it was kind of a gas station, 24 hours open. And for her, that was a place to be without a house because it was 24 hours. She will rest in the back of the place.
Sure.
And that's how she, tried to deal with the reality of not having a home, not having a family. And that's how my story began, because that's when she met my father, who used to attend this place. And then eventually she got pregnant, showing him as the way out of her reality. One of the things, Candace, that I also reflect on the issue of poverty is it's easy to blame people when they make poor choices.
Yeah, expand upon that. What do you mean by that? It's easy to blame people.
Yeah, we have the tendency to say people are in poverty because they make poor choices. And we say that as it's their fault. They are there because they deserve it. Maybe not consciously we say that. But the issue of poverty is more complicated than just people making poor choices.
Yeah.
There are people who are in poverty because of a hurricane. Comes and destroy your small wood-made house, and then you're on the streets. There are people who end up in poverty because they get sick and they don't have the money to pay. And that even happened in the US.
Yeah.
I have a friend who says we're to a chronic sickness, to extreme poverty. And for my mom, if we see the story of a woman getting pregnant, the issue I say this is because my father was married. He has 4 daughters and a wife. And therefore I was born out of
Wedlock.
My father's marriage.
Okay.
And so I'm not trying to defend my mom, but I'm just saying a woman in a vulnerable reality like where she was, she saw my father as a way out of her poverty. She said that she didn't know he was married. And she realized that after that. And so basically born out of my father's marriage. Yeah. And now in this condition of my mom being in this very high situation of vulnerability, what happened next is that my father wanted her to abort because he didn't want that boy out of his marriage. He didn't want that. And my mother, thanks God, decided to continue with the pregnancy. She wasn't a Christian.
Okay.
But for some reason, she said, I'm not the only woman homeless and pregnant. I will deliver this baby.
Come back next week to hear more about Jonathan's story. To see how we can make a difference together, go to Candace.com and click where it says the word compassion. You'll see more about my story and be able to change the life of someone like Jonathan. Go to Candace.com, click where it says compassion, and join me. Until next time, be grateful all day, every day. Candy Rock Entertainment, all rights reserved.